Hello, and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking with Ariel Nathanson of Finances for Feminists about financial wellness. Hey Janine.
Hey Shannon, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I am so great. Because I'm so excited about our guest this week.
Yes.
Yes, I have to just gush for a second that our guest Ariel, I have known since she was 3 months old. I held her in my arms.
Oh my goodness.
And I think we've had Thanksgiving dinner together every year of her life, except not in 2020, of course.
Right.
But she was a remarkable child and is an even more remarkable adult. And I'm just so happy that we get to share her wisdom with our audience. And I know you know Ariel too.
Yes. She has been a client of mine. So I got to work with her when she was beginning this business, which I am just thrilled that we get to talk with her about. So, Ariel, are you with us?
Yes. Hi. Well,
welcome.
Well, you're making me blush, Janine. I thought you'd known me my entire life. I didn't realize it was at 3 months. So that's a good distinction. But
I could tell you the day that we met. I know the date we met, so because I'm good with dates.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Well, you guys have both been such huge supports of me. You know, just I so appreciate both of you, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
This is wonderful. So you want to tell us a little bit, we know, but tell our audience a little bit about you and Finances for Feminists?
I would love to, yeah. So I left my job as a senior executive at a Boston-based software company. And I was there, about 8 years. And I left that very stable job to go and run and start my own business during the pandemic. And Shannon, both of you guys were very much a part of that. And now I have my own business called Finances for Feminists. And there I'm a money coach and I do personal finance education. And so as a financial coach, what I do is I help women attain clarity around their finances. And we do that by creating concrete action plans to help them meet their goals. And I provide education and personalized support, like breaking down all that financial patronizing jargon you can hear into actionable items and tangible outcomes. So that can include topics ranging from savings goals to investing 101 and like everything in between, because money is everywhere. And it's just been a really fulfilling journey so far.
That's fantastic. I wish I had the opportunity to work with someone like you when I was a lot younger.
Yes, that would have made a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, it's never too late. It's never too early. It's never too late to get your financial house in order. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Very cool. And I personally love your very targeted business name, Finances for Feminists. And I also love the fact that in a conversation with 3 women, all of us went to women's colleges. So,
that's right.
About that. Yeah. There we go.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean, Janine, it's funny. I have a statistic on my website that like 61% of women would rather talk about their own death than discuss money.
Wow.
So like we as women really need to be comfortable with our money and our finances. And these kinds of conversations that the 3 of us are having today are really important. Because, we've been socialized as women that money is taboo or it's impolite to ask about. And part of my work and my mission is trying to change that, help to change the conversation and to work with women to help them feel more in control of their money so they can feel more in control of their future and their lives.
Oh, yeah. You're giving people freedom, aren't you? I mean, I think that
really,
especially for women. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Well, and I think that, like you said, we're sort of socialized to not pay attention or not want to pay attention to it, or, sort of have this, I don't know, there's sort of this underlying current that money is somehow bad, especially if you are trying to make a difference in the world. And it's not true. Right. I mean, money helps you do all the things that you want to do.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting dynamic that I've come across. And I think, we're just really nervous. I think perfectionism really sneaks in here too, because we're nervous to be judged or be vulnerable. And so just having the conversation is important, and understanding, like you said, that money helps you do things and do important things and show up in the world in the way that you want to. So it doesn't have to be bad or evil.
Right.
Right. Well, where do you see perfectionism rearing its head among your clients?
In a lot of places, yeah. Yeah. I think perfectionism is really tied to judgment. And I think we're really our worst critics in terms of judging ourselves for not having our finances in order. And that means different things to different people. So one person that may mean not feeling like they have their spending on control. For another person that might look like, feeling overwhelmed by credit card debt. But that perfectionism sneaks in because, then we're afraid to look at it. We're afraid to open up the bank account. We're afraid to look deep into the numbers and ask the questions. And that's why I think having a coach is so helpful, because they're there as a support to look at things with you, to be there by your side. And I know you guys know this in your line of work as well, that it makes a big difference. But I think, the flip side of that is curiosity. And have you guys watched Ted Lasso?
Oh, yes.
I love Ted Lasso.
Oh, I love Ted Lasso.
I just binged it. So going a little meta, where he references, be curious and not judgmental, as Walt Whitman. But I'm going to go ahead and reference the Ted Lasso when he says this. But yeah, I like to try to tell my clients to think about that and try to channel that, and just put your judgment to the side for a second. It's not serving you. Put that perfectionism to the side, let it take a seat, and try to be curious instead and see what comes with that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's so useful. Curiosity is such a powerful quality to embrace. And it is really effective at diminishing perfectionistic tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel I know you guys have talked about your love of YNAB, which I'll just jump in there because I know it's been talked about on the podcast before. And I'm curious just to ask. So Janine, I know it took a little bit. I know Shannon, you were on the YNAB train for a while, and Janine, I know it took you a minute. What kind of helped you to take that on? Because I know a lot of people, tooling can be intimidating. I'm curious how that sort of worked for you.
All right. Well, if I'm remembering correctly, Shannon, she showed it to me years ago, and I sort of listened yeah. And then, I think it was because I was doing Profit First, mm-hmm. and I needed a tool to help me with that, maybe. I'm not sure. Finally, it just clicked, though. And Shannon, I read a book that helped when I read Jesse Meekham's book called You Need a Budget. And once Shannon just gave me the confidence to just try it and work with it. And it's okay if I make mistakes because they have a fresh start. And once I finally got past whatever, it was a perfectionistic barrier of being afraid I'd screw it up. Once I figured it out, because there's a little bit of a learning curve, I was in wholeheartedly, and now and then I just this year took it over for our household finances. So now I'm hoping to take over my dad's finances. I'm just because
wow.
I want to do more YNAB because it's so enjoyable.
I have 3 YNAB
you
budgets.
Do? Okay.
Yeah, I have a family one, I have my business one, and I have my mom on it too.
Yeah, I want to be just like Shannon.
I feel like it's the manifest destiny of YNAB. It's just onward expansion.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's so helpful for your listeners to hear you talking through that process, because I know now you guys are both, you're using it, I think daily, right? Or close to it. And so knowing that, like there was a process to get there, and it's okay to make mistakes also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's good to remember that it's not instantaneous. It's not like you flip a switch and you have sort of financial literacy. Like you say, it's a process, and it took a while for going into YNAB every day, which I do every day, became like a treat as opposed to a challenge. Mm-hmm. But now it's sort of like the thing I do when I want to do something that feels really satisfying. That's the thing that I go to. Like I just feel so much better after, and it's, part of it's YNAB, but mostly what it is that it's like checking in with my money. It's like, hey, spending a little bit of time with my money so I know where everything is and there are no surprises. And I think that's the gift that it really gives me.
It eliminates any uncertainty about money, which is such a nice thing to just be certain. In an unusual thing. I do it every morning, first thing, and then usually I check in at another point during the day.
And this is just reminding me, I remember doing some kind of a money exercise years ago before I found out about YNAB, and sort of the belief I had about money at the time was, if I had enough money, I wouldn't have to think about it. And I find it really interesting that sort of the reverse is true, that thinking about it, I don't think about it all the time, but like checking in with it so I know where it's at, as opposed to sort of hiding from it, is what has really given me a sense of freedom around money.
That is so interesting.
That's so powerful. I feel like I was just going to say that like you have such a mindfulness around your money and where it is, and that owning that is really powerful in terms of feeling in control of what's going on with your spending and your finances. And mindful spending is something that I start with all my clients, because it's just everything sort of revolves around it, because you're spending money. And if you feel good about where your money is going, and just even aware of it, not necessarily even good about it, but aware of what's happening, that's just a huge step forward.
Yeah. Well, so what do you mean exactly by mindful spending?
Yeah, so I have this fun exercise that I walk through with my clients, and I'm happy to talk through it for your listeners as well. But it's essentially a great place to start, especially if you're feeling uncomfortable around your money, or if you want a refresher, if you just want to kick off. I call it mindful spending, which is just basically checking in with your money. But the second piece is checking in with how it's making you feel, like how that purchase is making you feel from an emotion standpoint. Mm-hmm. So it's basically an exercise based off of Refinery 29's money diaries, but it's really simple. You just grab a sheet of paper and a pen, or you can open up a Google Sheet if you prefer that. And then you open up your credit card statement or your Venmo account, or wherever you're making your transaction. And just up front, acknowledge, for some people, logging into their credit card accounts and can feel really overwhelming in terms of not wanting to look too closely. So if you're in that camp, if that's where you're at right now, you're not alone. It does get easier as you get more comfortable looking at those statements. But what I recommend people do is just jot down the date, how much you spent, what the thing was, and then what are your emotions around the purchase. And I like to make it easy. I know, Janine, that's your motto, making it easy. Love that motto. So just for me, I just do a plus, a minus, or a neutral in terms of how reflecting on that purchase is making me feel. And just something as simple as that, you'd be so surprised. But it really gets people more in touch with how they're spending and their emotions are connected. And I recommend people do it for a week, and ideally for a month. But over time, what you'll find is that you'll save money, and you'll also feel better about the purchases that you are making. So an example would be last weekend, I bought a latte. It was $5, And I feel positive about it because it was an opportunity to see a friend socially distanced outside, catch up, and support my local coffee shop. So just something really simple. This is like pre-tooling, like the step before YNAB, the step before, automation, all that stuff. Just a very basic check-in. And I found that really helps people starting out to get over, any perfectionism they may have about like getting it all right at once and just getting more in touch with their spending and their emotions.
Well, and even just bringing that idea sort of into your consciousness of paying attention to how you feel after having spent money shifts the pattern. And I think that's probably why you see people who do this, that their spending patterns change, just bringing that awareness to it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And are you suggesting that people evaluate their feelings around each purchase? Is that right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit, it works better, I find, for non-essential purchases. Cause I would like to not pay rent. Like, I don't feel totally positive about that, but I also need to pay rent. But it is helpful for, maybe that Hulu account that has snuck in there that you didn't realize was even on your card because it's been re-upping automatically. Things like that, and just helps people sort of check in. And again, going back to what we talked about earlier in terms of that judgment and curiosity, like just being curious about, oh, that's interesting. I'm didn't expect that I would feel, so negative about that purchase. But now that I'm realizing it, I think moving forward, I'm going to keep that in mind next time I'm in that situation.
Wow. And it seems to me like folks who have a problem with or a challenge with spending money, emotional spending at the moment that they're actually spending the money, over shoppers and so forth, might really benefit from reflecting a little later about how they felt about that purchase. And it seems like you suggest it might help them not make a similar purchase tomorrow or down the road. That's really interesting. I love it. And now, we get to see Shannon and I are paying attention to each of our purchases, but I'm going to try to, tomorrow morning, ask myself how I feel about each of them as I'm doing that.
Yeah, let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
I want to try that too. It's interesting because in NLP, there's a technique called the naturally slender eating technique. And the idea of it is when you feel hungry, before you decide what you're going to eat, you think about what you want, you think about eating it, you think about having eaten it, sort of immediately after, and then you think about having eaten it in the future. And that will help you make a decision about choosing to eat something that will help you feel good now and in the future, or recognizing that you're not even hungry. And this is sort of the same sort of thing. If you did this in advance, like if you're thinking about spending money and thinking about how you will feel spending the money, how you will feel having just spent the money, and how you will feel at some point in the future having spent the money. And that could, I'm guessing, really shift spending habits, particularly for people who sort of do mindless spending. And we did a little episode on this recently about, I think a lot of people fell into mindless shopping habits. Well, maybe not mindless, but shopping habits during the pandemic that might not be normal for them. Mm-hmm. And, I'm not just talking about myself here.
I mean, it is important to recognize we are in a pandemic. Like, we're going to make emotional purchases, and that's okay within reason. The point is, like, just being intentional about it, recognizing it, and then, trying to make that decision next time more informed. But I love what you said, Shannon, about the parallels to food. I think about that a lot too, just in terms of how food and money are so similar, and that it's kind of everywhere, and you have to, you can't really avoid money, you can't really avoid food.
Right.
And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I think I was trying to think, like, why is it that some people really enjoy certain tools? Like, some people, swear by Mint, and other people YNAB. And I was thinking it was kind of like different diets of like, oh, I love the paleo diet. It really works for me and I feel great on it. And like, Or I love the Atkins diet. I was thinking like it's just a different subset where like people, it works well for them, it meets their needs, but it might not be a great fit for everyone for whatever reason. Right. I feel like the food analogy and money, you could just extrapolate that all across the board. So I love how you tied that together.
Yeah, it's interesting. If there was there's no way that I would ever track all my food and calories and all that stuff. But if there was a way that you could do that was like YNAB, like if it all just showed up and I didn't have to do anything, I might consider it just out of curiosity.
I feel like there's going to be some sort of Apple Watch that does that someday. I don't have one, but it does.
Yeah, like you just like take a picture of it and tells you what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there isn't one, there will be soon, I bet. Yeah, that's a good point. Huh.
Yeah.
I really feel like this exercise, if you think about how you're going to feel tomorrow when you go through your credit card statement, that you're going to have to evaluate, you're going to want to evaluate how you feel about it, that really could affect your spending. I think that's terrific. And mindfulness, adding mindfulness to our lives is just so beneficial.
Yeah, and the other thing I like to talk about my clients is, because I don't want it to feel all constricted. Like, you can't spend money on things. That's why the emotion piece is so important, because you can spend money within reason, within your budget on things that make you feel good. So I also work with my clients around values-based spending and making sure that their money spending habits align with their values. And it all basically ties into being intentional and being mindful about your spending, because you'll feel good when your spending is in line with your values and how you want to be living your life.
Yeah. It's so powerful. And it's easy to lose sight of those things, to, you just sort of are spending based on what's in front of you, as opposed to thinking about the bigger picture, your values and what really matters. And this has come up a few times in past episodes, but the idea of like, if you could be spending little bits of money here and there that could add up to something that would really matter to you, but if you don't recognize that, it won't ever happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It takes time to step back and to process and to have a moment between, putting that thing in your Amazon cart and just clicking buy and reflecting on, that decision and what is the impact. And that's where, these kinds of exercises really come into play, because they help you to take a step back and to, reflect.
Yeah. So if someone is feeling like overwhelmed even looking at their credit card statement, do you have any ideas that can help them get in a place where that becomes doable, becomes a little bit easier?
I would probably suggest that they journal around those feelings first, because I'm imagining there's some emotions around, probably judgment or shame. First of all, normalizing that. A lot of people experience feelings of judgment and shame. So that is a very normal emotion to have. And journaling about that, taking time to process and sit with it. And then, just doing, I recommend very bite-sized pieces on the exercise. If you're feeling overwhelmed by your credit card statement, just look at one day. Just start with one day and just do that. Okay, now do 2 days and build up from there. Because I find myself, if I go back further than a week, I don't remember. I'm like, what? I don't remember what this was. Like, right. So I don't know about you guys, but if it's not electronic and itemized, I'm like, did someone steal my credit card? And
right.
Like, I have no recollection of that on Wednesday. So, just taking it, reflecting on your emotions and where that's coming from, and also just taking it in really bite-sized pieces and doing it day by day. And cutting yourself some slack. Just starting is a huge step. And some people don't even log into their credit card account. So even just logging in, like step 1, step 2, look at 1 day, step 3, look at 2 days, and take it, bite sized. That's what I would recommend.
I think that's a great idea. Just, start wherever you are and take one small step. Like you don't have to evaluate all your spending over the past year, like from the get-go.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, this is a process. Like, it's not like, when you're done, you're like, oh, I never have to think about this again. Like, it's ongoing, it's going to be something that's with you. And so just recognizing that, whatever that quote is, it's a journey, not a destination, and being okay with the journey, because, each step you take is a step in the right direction, and it's further than where you were the day before.
Yeah. Yes. That makes a lot of sense. And I think starting with spending is so helpful. What are the other areas that you sort of focus on with clients with your coaching package?
Yeah. So my coaching package it's called Finance Fundamentals, and it's a 3-month program. And it's funny, originally I had one-off sessions with people, and I realized, oh my goodness, like that is, Shannon, I think you actually helped me realize this. That is not enough time. And people, it's funny, like we think like, yeah, I just need 90 minutes. And you're like, actually, I think this is going to take a little bit longer. So I found that 3 months is that sweet spot where we can definitely get a lot done in that time. But what I start with is, getting clear on your money map, which is basically like, where are you? Like, where are you relative to your debt? How about your savings? Like, how about your retirement? Because a lot of people, they have different accounts, but, they're not really sure how much is in them or where they are or like how to log in. So just getting really clear, putting that all in one place, like that's the first step, because you can't go somewhere if you don't know where you are.
Right.
And then from there, it's like articulating your goals. And a lot of that, I work with the values-based spending, values-based goals. Like, what do you want your money to, how do you want your money to support the life you want to live? Because for me, I see money as a tool to do that. I think a lot of people feel like money is restrictive or confining, but like I like to flip that script and see it as like an opportunity to help you live the life you want to live. So what does that look like for you, and help people articulate those goals? And then I love talking about investing 101, because as women, we are, I think the statistic is like 71% of our assets are in cash. And, if you're very close to retirement, that may be okay for you. But for a lot of us, like that's not where we want to be. We want to be investing more. And so getting comfortable with just the basics, investing 101, like making sure that language, that financial jargon is accessible and easy to digest and fun. That sounds crazy, but fun. Wow. And then automating stuff, so helping you set yourself up for success so that your goals and working towards your goals are automated. And then the last thing is conquering your credit. So just making sure that your credit is in good shape, because having credit scores is important. It helps you do things like, take out mortgages and things like that. So getting comfortable with your credit score, understanding it, knowing how to pull it, all that fun stuff. And then I set you guys free, and they're off into the world. So that's
awesome.
What I've been doing lately. Yeah.
That sounds great and comprehensive, but not overwhelming somehow. It sounds like a really good way for people to, sort of get their arms around their money situation.
That's the hope. Yeah. That's the hope. Yeah.
Do you work with clients in various stages of life, various ages, or you focus on younger folks?
I tend to work with younger women, just because there's a longer runway for them in terms of that investing 101 and retirement details. But it's interesting. A lot of what I've said has resonated with women closer to retirement age. So I am exploring, that as a potential option, but I'm trying to narrow my focus just at the beginning so I don't bite off more than I can chew.
That's smart.
Yes, that's great. And just to go back a second, when you were talking about the credit score, reminded me that a lot of things are influenced by your credit score, like how much you pay for insurance. And, even jobs can be influenced by your credit score. So it is a very helpful thing to understand and pay attention to and improve where you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I find that that's one that people often overlook. So yeah, I agree. It is important in terms of getting those goals, getting the things done in life that you want to accomplish. Having good credit is important. And there are ways to build your credit up. So if you are feeling like you don't have the best credit, like that is definitely something that you can work towards improving.
Yes, that's great. And really, I think that's the main thing to take out of what you're saying is that knowledge is power here, that paying attention and being curious and understanding where you're at and where you want to go is what gives you the freedom and the opportunities that you want.
Exactly. And needing something that's like accessible and having someone help you be accountable, like that's what a money coach is for. And if you're in that place where maybe you're feeling overwhelmed when you try to research it yourself, or you don't know how exactly your 401k match is supposed to work with this investment, like that's okay. Like, that's a fine place to be if you need that extra support. And if not, great, I love it. Like keep on keeping on, and I hope that this conversation encourages people to talk about their finances more with each other and helps push that dialogue along further.
That's great. I imagine that it really will. Do you have any other questions, Janine? Do you have any questions for Ariel?
No, I feel like I could talk to her about this forever, but I think this is a good stopping point. Next Thanksgiving, Ariel, we'll talk away.
I have missed our Thanksgiving so much, Janine. I think we should have one in the summer once everyone's vaccinated. I think I'm the only one that feels that way, but I will try to make something.
I don't know. I feel like I would maybe want to fly in for that.
Perfect.
Yes, come on in.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Ariel. This is super helpful, and I feel sort of reinvigorated to look at what I'm doing and see where I can bring in more curiosity and mindfulness.
Wonderful. Yes, I love that. And thank you guys both so much for having me. I did want to say quickly, people can find me at my website, which is financesforfeminists.com. All letters, both plural, but finances for feminists. A lot of alliteration. And there's a contact form on that page. There's more info on the Finance Fundamentals package, and I'm happy to chat with anyone who thinks it might be a good fit.
Excellent.
Awesome.
We'll put that link in the show notes as well.
Wonderful.
Yes. All right. So we want to hear from you, our listeners. How are you approaching your financial wellness, and where can you let go of perfectionism and bring more curiosity in about money? You can let us know on the show notes at gettingtogoodenough.com. On social media, Facebook and Instagram, we're at Getting to Good Enough, and on Twitter, we're at GTG Enough. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. This just makes me want to open up YNAB and look at everything.
For the second time today, right?
Exactly.